Hey, good afternoon. This is part two of the introduction. Um, uh, uh, I I'm making these videos kind of not kind of, but very raw. I'm not experienced as far as making videos and so forth, and I wanted to make it that way. I wanted it to be raw. I wanted to be not well prepped or anything like that. I'm just speaking basically from the cup. I'm just, just going with the flow while it's on my mind, and just to have these type of discussions. And right now, I'm just showing the three patterns of life as I did in part one. But it's. I just want the introduction to be as raw and um, authentic as I can possibly make it. Don't necessarily want to go by any type of script or anything. Um, if you find your way to my site, either by way of the wisdoms of the day that I've been sending out to, you know, a few people, or just you know somebody that um, I have been sending the windows of the day to, and they sharing it with you and so forth. But however you come to the site, and you uh, look at some of the wisdoms of the days that I have out there, or the true statements, or if you watch a video or two, I think as the months go and as the years go, if I'm blessed to continue and so forth, then I think it will get more professional looking, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the early stage. It's just like anything in life. You start off, in a very, um, uh, you know, infant steps, for a lack of a better word. You crawl before you can walk, et cetera, et cetera. I also don't want to be mistaken as some type of holy man. I'm not a holy man. Um, I am not, um, you know, anybody who has been exalted. I'm not anybody who I consider that is gifted. I'm equal just as anyone else. I'm life. I'm no different from anybody else. I've always had a desire to learn the truth, and just the truth. I was interested in life for my love of the one. Um, so that's basically my journey. But I'm not a holy person. I'm a sinner just like everyone else. I have done some things that I'm not proud of. Uh, but no matter how sinful or how disgusting of things that I've done, I still seek God's counsel and hope to return to the right path. Um, that's always been my journey. Um, I don't try to be somebody that I'm not. Um, so no matter what you're going through or what your struggles are, I believe the truth, mathematically speaking, can help us all. I mean, there is no doubt in mathematics. There is no doubt that the one is everywhere. That the one exists, because everything is a mathematical formula. Nothing happens without mathematics. There is a process, but it is a mathematical process that everything runs by. It is the ultimate language. It is the language that we should understand and we should know how to use it in life, where it shouldn't be separate from our everyday life. Uh, so no matter if you have been in prison, no matter if you have done some things that that you're not proud of, no matter what, you can always have the grace of the one. You know, he's here to guide us all. He's here to help us all. Math is the equalizer of all that we have experienced. It is the language that can unite us all because it's the language of life. All you have to do is submit to the process, and you will experience all that there is to experience. If you just add and multiply, you will experience all there is to experience. And there are the three patterns of life: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 483 726 159 753 186 429. You get to recite these to yourself. It is the beginning of thought. You know, before you see anything, before you touch anything, before anything is manifest, it's the thought behind it. Thought is the original concept. So once you see something, once you engage in it, it's past tense. But the original thought is what we should study, and that's life. Study life. What we all about, what we should be all about, is the understanding of life. So, in my introduction, I just want to make that clear. Also, our diet. Our diet is very, very, very keen. I did not want to do the introduction until I was at a point that I was going to have to get my diet together. I didn't want to already be at a spot where I was good with my diet before I started doing my uploads. It was just something that I just wanted to go through with those who would be, going out to my website. So currently, right now, I'm 30 plus pounds over my desired weight, and I'm happy about that right now, because now I can start my journey, and I can start it with y'all, and y'all can see how the understanding of diet, and when you get into the frequencies, how all of that works, because mathematically there's a process when it comes to how we should eat. The food that we should be ingesting, the herbs, the entities. Life processes life. Life brings life into existence. So we should be eating things that are life-giving instead of processed food. And processed food should be the last thing we should be eating. We got to watch our sugar intake, salt intake, and so forth. We should eat that comes from the earth, that what falls from trees. We should try to get the freshest water that we possibly can. Spring water, et cetera, et cetera. There are some brothers and sisters that are deep into the health, and they got their sites and so forth, and I will put some links out on my site for those that I find that are expiring, that are good, and you might see them as can be a way of eating that can help you. But there are times to eating. Let me give an example. Everybody should eat at least once per day. Nobody should eat more than once a day. Now, if you already have issues, if you're already on medication, etc., yeah, I'm not telling you that you should do this instantly or so forth. There's a process to everything, but I try to stick to the rhythm of the solstice. For instance, we're coming up on the summer solstice, so the first 21 days of June, I will eat a certain way. When it comes into the fall, there will be the first 21 days before the fall, I will eat a certain way. And the same thing about the winter solstice, the same thing when it comes to the spring, because those are I call them the 90-degree angles that takes you into the 360-degree cycle as far as eating a healthy life. Whatever change that you decide to make, you should at least do it for 90 days. So once you start your one meal a day, do it for 90 days and see how you will actually feel. Don't give up on the first 2 to 3 days or the first 2 weeks or whatever. Give it a 90-day process. When you want to start eating every other day, give it a 90-day process. When you want to eat once every 72 hours, give it a 90-day process. Your goal should always be at least a 90-day process, so you can complete that right angle. So these are just things that you can grow into. You can grow into the understanding, etc., etc. But this journey that I'm on now, that I started in this month, coming into the summer solstice, my intention is to stay on this course until I pass through the cycle of life. I have been around long enough to know. I have been blessed to know. So all I have to do is practice what I know. The same can be for all of us. Don't take things as a coincidence in life. If certain people come into your life, when paths cross, a decision led to paths to be crossed. If you end up in a grocery store at a particular time, as people are also in that grocery store at the same time you are for various reasons. Some work there, some just, they said, somebody called and said, hey, can you make a quick stop for me, etc., etc. But there's a reason that you're all there at the same time. Decisions were made. You were guided to that spot at the same time. You agreed to do whatever that led you to that. You made a decision to be there. Be observant. Be observant of your surroundings. There's a lessons there all the time. Math is always teaching. Just don't, take things as a coincidence. There are reasons why you arrive where you arrive. 99.9% of the time it's because of a thought. And the thought is always before what is manifest. So just keep these things in mind. Once again, I'm only talking about basically mathematics. I find mathematics as being an absolute. I am not going to debate anybody about your faith, your religion, what your holy book is. That doesn't concern the truth. The one is present. The one is everywhere. So I'm only going to talk about the one. If you don't, if you can't follow what I'm saying, or if you don't agree with what I'm saying, that's fine. But I try to show you mathematically what I'm saying. I'm trying to make it seem like this is not my opinion, this is what the math is. So again, when you understand that these patterns appear by when you add and multiply with that number, these patterns appear. And these are the only three patterns that appear. If you do the same thing with the number 3, 6, and 9, you're going to see you're going to get the exact same pattern over and over again, because 3, 6, and 9, those are the true cycles of life. That's a whole different understanding. I will get into that in some of my videos. I will break that down. But it's just like when you start dealing with the 3, 6, and 9, you have to have an understanding of the frequency and the melodies to really get that out, because you're dealing with 9999999, and you have to understand how that flows. It's just like if you're learning to play a instrument and you want to make a beautiful sound that'll draw. You don't want to make something that's going to be squeaking, sounding bad, sounding noisy, where there's no connection there. There's no harmony. So mathematics, when you use it right and when you use the language right, you are creating a melody, you are creating the frequency, you are creating harmony. You know how you can be around some people and they say, hey man, they just got that particular charisma, they got that particular draw, they got that particular piece about themselves that draw people to them. That's what the math is all about. But if you're out there trying to mess with stuff that you can't really make that sound, you sound like it's just a bunch of squeaky noise, that's what happened. Because there's a lot of noise going on in the world with all these different languages. English language is not, it's a spell. All language that has a form of writing, in order to be able to write it, you have to have a spell. So you have to go under that spell of understanding, where things have been defined. And you start naming things that's already been thought of, that has already been processed and in motion, and then you start fumbling around on it, talking about that you're claiming something. But all we can do is discover. We can't create because it's already been created. The one has already done it. The one created dirt. The one created every chemical that is out there. Even if you say, hey, I put these chemicals together and I created a very new element out of this, how can you create something using something that's already there? Did you create it out of thin air? The one has already thought of it, he's already done it. So whatever we do, we should always give praise to the one, because he puts you in the position to even have this understanding, to even discover these things. Is all based on the one. So on that note, I teach life. All I teach is life. Mathematics is the language of life. It is the ultimate unifier. It is the absolute. Within mathematics, you get freedom, justice, and equality. Equality. There's no superior, because there's only one. All the numbers have one. They cannot exist without the one. And whenever there's a time for a change, the universe gives you a womb or the zero, because the zero is very significant. 0 times 0 equals 0. 0 plus 0 equals 0. There's only one number that if you multiply it, well, there's two numbers. There's only one number like 0 that if you add it and multiply, you get the same result. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that number. If you do the math, you can figure it out for yourself. But I'm going to eventually talk about each number and what they represent and why they represent that. Because each number has its own word. Word has their own expression. But It's not a whole lot of things that needs to be said when you know how to use it, because then your actions, your melody is what makes the music from this frequency. It's what makes the draw from the frequency. Frequency heals everything. The frequency stimulates thought. Frequency makes the shape. When you start thinking about geometry, it's a sound, it's a frequency that is making them symbols. Everything is frequency. You think your consciousness is all comes from your brain. You think your thought is all about the brain, but you got to remember it. The heartbeat, the beating of the heart, your love. You don't feel that in the mind. You feel love in the heart. Love is the draw. Knowledge is one thing, but the wisdom is how you make the music. You gotta love life to get the most out of life. Ra can give you knowledge, but I'm giving you a frequency. I'm giving you the codes to make the harmony of life. I teach life. Life is a gift. And the gift is what I'm giving. Life-giving understanding. Unwrap the gift. Embrace life. It's a journey that I seek. It is a journey that I'm on. So no matter who you are, where you from, what country you live in, what language you speak, etc., your gender, your race, the bottom line is your life. And where else would you want to be? Is there anything better? Is there anything more filling? Is there anything better than life? So let's embrace it, and let's live it, and let's go on this journey together. Watch it.